Hello students, welcome to the Pole Science of Class 12 Arts, and today we are here with the last part of the topic, that is ASEAN. So previously we read about its formation, then the signing of Bangkok Declaration. After that we read about the ASEAN flag and its significance. After that, we also learned about the joint development programs that was first undertaken by the ASEAN. Aims and purposes. We also learned about fundamental principles regarding the topic ASEAN. Then the goals of ASEAN as a whole. Then we started reading about the three pillars of ASEAN, in which we read about ASEAN Security Community, then ASEAN Economic Community, and under this head ASEAN Economic Community we learned about Free Trade Area, what it is actually. Then we also came to know about the ASEAN Vision 2020, followed by the third pillar of the ASEAN, that was ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. Then after that we read about the external relations that ASEAN is maintaining with the foreign countries like Australia, Canada, China, India, Japan, and intergovernmental organizations like the European Union, New Zealand, Republic of Korea, Russian Federation, and United States of America. So today we will start with the last part of this topic ASEAN, and we will start with the structures and mechanisms of ASEAN. So in order to understand about structures and mechanisms, it is like if we say about structures, then structures can be related to arrangements, to all the arrangements of the ASEAN. And if we talk about mechanisms, that is known as, in simple word we can say it as the systems. So that means, in other words, structures and mechanisms of ASEAN can be related to what? Arrangements and systems of ASEAN. How the things are arranged and how they are being brought into the system. So this is all about structures and mechanisms. So let us proceed then. The highest decision making organ of the ASEAN is the meeting of the ASEAN. That means what? Highest decision making means whatever the decisions finally is taken. So that place is known as the meeting of the ASEAN. That means what? Whenever the ASEAN meets, once in a year, twice in a year, or thrice in a year, whatever it is, so that at that particular moment only, during the meeting time only, all the important decisions are taken and that are finalized at that meeting only. Clear? So the highest decision making organ of the ASEAN is the meeting of ASEAN heads of state and government. So wherever the meeting is held, it is actually held annually, once in a year. So whenever this meeting is held, all the important decisions are finalized by whom? All the heads of the state and government. So related to whom? All the 10 member countries, all their heads, state heads and governmental heads are present in that meeting, and all the decisions, whatever it is finalized, it is taken there only. The ASEAN summit is convened every year. So whatever the meeting we have discussed, it is actually convened every year. That means it happens once a year. The ASEAN ministerial meeting, that means foreign ministers, is held on an annual basis. So secondly, whatever the ASEAN ministerial meeting is also done, that is between the foreign ministers. If you remember, when for the first time, when the Bangkok Declaration was signed, that was actually signed by the foreign ministers of the 5 countries or the 5 member countries. So that's why another meeting is also held between the ministerial members, that means it is known as ASEAN Ministerial Meeting, that is of foreign ministers. So basically all the foreign ministers of all 10 member countries are in this meeting, and this meeting is known as the ASEAN Ministerial Meeting, and this is also held annually once in a year. Supporting these ministerial bodies are 29 committees of senior officials and 122 technical working groups. So if we talk about this ASEAN Ministerial Meeting, which is held annually, so in this meeting there are ministerial bodies which are like, in this ministerial bodies 29 committees of senior officials are there, and 122 technical working groups are also there related to ASEAN Ministerial Meeting. That means foreign ministers meeting of the 10 countries, when it is held annually, then at that time 29 senior official members are there. Along with this 29 senior official members, another 122 technical members are also there. Clear? So this is the arrangement and systems of the ASEAN. First of all, highest decision is taken in the meeting of ASEAN, where all the heads of the state and government are present. This is held annually, that means once a year. After that, ASEAN Ministerial Meeting is held, that is between the foreign ministers. It is also held annually. And to support these ministerial bodies, that means in support, to give a back support in this ASEAN Ministerial Meeting is being supported by 29 senior officials. Along with that, 122 technical working groups are also there. After that, to support the conduct of ASEAN's external relations, ASEAN established committees composed of heads of diplomatic missions in major capitals. That means, to the next point, moving on to the next point, it is written that in order to maintain ASEAN's external relations, that means with the foreign countries, whatever the relations is there, ASEAN has established committees comprised of heads of diplomatic missions in major capitals. That means, suppose you assume that external members, you suppose assume India is there, China is there, United States of America is there, Republic of Korea is there, then government organization like European Union is there. So all of these are there, all of these countries and organization is there. In order to maintain good relation with them, they are doing what? They are establishing committees, heads of diplomatic missions. That means diplomatic means, or you can say diplomats or diplomatics are the persons whom any organization appoints. Clear? That means he or she may be appointed as a diplomat in that particular countries, like whichever the ASEAN has good relations with other external or foreign countries like India, China, then Republic of Korea, European Union. Also in all these organizations, the ASEAN will do what? Appoint one diplomat each. That means one person each, who will be the head. Why they are appointed? These persons are appointed so that this relationship could be maintained in a better way. So to do that, they are doing what? They are establishing committees composed of heads of diplomatic missions in major capitals, where the ASEAN thinks that one diplomat or the diplomats should be appointed, they appoint that in order to maintain good relation. After that, the Secretary General of ASEAN is appointed on merit and accorded ministerial status. So the head of the ASEAN is the Secretary General, and he or she is appointed how? On merit. That means on merit basis, on the quality and capability only he or she will be appointed, not on preferences, and accorded ministerial status, and he should also be having some ministerial status. Like in other words, if we say about the ministerial meeting, that is related to the meeting of the foreign ministers. So likewise, the status should be there of that particular person, and other than that, he or she should be capable. That means he or she should be appointed on the merit basis also and on ministerial status also. The Secretary General of ASEAN, who has a 5-year term, is mandated to initiate, advise, coordinate and implement ASEAN activities. So if the Secretary General of ASEAN is appointed on merit basis and having some status of the ministerial background, then if he or she is elected as the Secretary General of ASEAN, what are the works that the Secretary General of ASEAN has to do? There are 4 works, namely, the first work that he or she has to do is has to initiate all the ASEAN activities. That means he or she has to start. Then based on that, he or she has to advise also all these ASEAN activities. Then he or she has to coordinate, number 3, in every ASEAN activities. And at last, after initiating, after advising, after coordinating, finally he or she has to implement all these ASEAN activities in order to do what? In order to promote ASEAN. So he or she is appointed generally for a term of 5 years, remember. So here many short question and answers are there, like how is the Secretary General of ASEAN is appointed? That means you have to write he or she is appointed on the basis of merit and accorded ministerial status. After that, what is the term of Secretary General of ASEAN? It will be simple, 5 years. Then what are the works related to the Secretary General of ASEAN? 4 works are there: initiation, giving advice, coordination, and implementation. These are all the works related to the Secretary General of ASEAN. After that, ASEAN has several specialized bodies and arrangements promoting intergovernmental cooperation in various fields. So lastly, it is written that ASEAN has several specialized bodies and arrangements promoting intergovernmental cooperation in various fields. So these several specialized bodies are related to whom? The community, the security, and the socio-cultural, whatever we have read. Like there are socio-cultural community, there are economic community, there are security community. So all these are what? These are the specialized agencies of the ASEAN. Clear? So they work in what? They work in all these specialized bodies and arrangements promoting intergovernmental cooperation in various fields. They work for the promotion. And lastly, talking about the achievements of ASEAN. Likewise, if we tell that till date, from 1967 till date, when it was formed through the Bangkok Declaration or ASEAN Declaration, so what are the achievements that the ASEAN have been successful in giving, or what are the achievements that they have achieved actually? Number 1 is maintenance of an uninterrupted period of peace and stability in the region. That means whatever the member countries are there, namely Malaysia, Laos, Vietnam, Brunei Darussalam, Thailand, Philippines, Singapore, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Indonesia. So whatever countries are included here, they have been very much successful in giving what? Uninterrupted period of peace and stability in the region. That uninterrupted, it means that in these 10 member countries there were not any disturbance till date. From the date of its formation till date, there have been uninterrupted period of peace and stability. No disturbance has been created. Peace and stability is there continuously. After that, number 2 success or achievement you can tell is successful in preventing conflicts among its member nations through negotiations. So if you remember, ASEAN had promised to work through the principles of laws and regulations of UN Charter. So based on that only, ASEAN have implemented that. They are trying to negotiate every conflicts. Every member countries have their own difference of opinions. So regarding that, if out of 10 member countries, if any of the 2 member countries have conflicts or disputes between each other, so the ASEAN have been very much successful in resolving these conflicts through what? Not through war, but through negotiations. That means they have been successful in negotiating this through the discussions and negotiations through peaceful way. This is the second achievement. Now third achievement is ASEAN provided a forum in which governments have been able to communicate with each other when ideology would otherwise have kept them apart. So as we know that every countries have their own ideologies, and in case of ASEAN also it is like that only. Every member countries have their own ideology, but keeping their ideology aside, they are coming in a neutral table. They are having discussions on everything that can actually resolve conflicts and bring back peace everywhere. So the ASEAN on that particular thing have been very successful, where they have come together in a table, in a conference, or in a meeting that they are holding annually, and they are discussing everything that can, by which they can actually bring peace and economic development in the country. They have been doing that, they have been successful also. And while they are coming on the single table to have discussions, they are keeping aside their all their ideologies. Whatever their ideologies are, they are keeping that aside. So in that way also they are very much successful, because they have been successful in communicating with each other on various issues that can lead to social development, welfare and economic development. And while doing this, they have kept their ideologies apart, that means separate. So these are the three achievements of the ASEAN. That means number one is maintenance of peace and stability. Number two is they have been successful in preventing conflicts. And last but not the least, they are having discussions together in a single table while they are meeting, whenever they are meeting. And what they are doing while meeting, they are discussing on everything, but on the same time they are keeping all their ideologies. Everyone has their own ideologies regarding everything. So what they are doing, they are keeping their ideologies apart. That means they are not bringing their ideologies when they are discussing on the developmental projects or peaceful projects whenever they are meeting. So this has actually made the achievements or successful running of ASEAN till date. So with this, we come to the end of this topic, which was a bit lengthier, and I hope that all the topics, all the points that we have discussed under this head ASEAN is now very much clear to you. So with this, I will wind up today's topic. Before winding, we need to find it out what are the points actually that we have completed. These are about the Bangkok Declaration, after that ASEAN flag, after that Joint Development Programs number 3, Aims and Purposes of ASEAN number 4, then Fundamental Principles taken during the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation number 5, then Goals of ASEAN as a whole number 6, then 3 Pillars of ASEAN, so under which ASEAN Security Community will be number 7, Economic Community number 8, then ASEAN Free Trade Area number 9. After that we read about ASEAN Vision 2020 number 10, Socio-Cultural Community, which is the 3rd pillar of ASEAN, number 11. After that, Structures and Mechanisms, that means Arrangement and Systems of Working of ASEAN, number 12. Then at last, we have read about the Achievements of ASEAN, number 13. So all these points are very much necessary in order to understand ASEAN. So with that, I will wind up today's topic. Thank you.